What's up guys, Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles, and today we're going back to some maximum value redemptions. And this time it is the boring edition. Now, I'm not really being a very good salesman. I don't actually mean boring. Practical might be a better word. You see, on my Points and Miles journey, at one point I got sidetracked. I was earning tons of American Express membership rewards points, but I still didn't have the best grasp on the transfer partners. I transferred a lot of points to Delta, which is not a great redemption, and I also got a couple American Airlines co-branded credit cards because I thought, well, I fly American and Delta, so I must need Delta Sky Miles and American Airline Miles to fly for free. Well, this is a logical thought, and I haven't exactly done poorly in the past using this strategy, but I've since learned a better way. In this video, I'm going to show you two very common transfer partners where you can book Delta and American Airlines flights for likely a much better deal. But first, if you are new to the channel, I talk about credit cards, points, miles, cash back, and travel. Do me a favor and subscribe if you want to keep up on those topics, and if you get any value out of this video at all and you want to see more, slap that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also guys, I'm trying so hard to learn Final Cut Pro to start making my videos more aesthetically pleasing, but it's been really difficult. I have, however, been making some fun outros at the end of videos. If you could do me a favor and stay all the way to the end, I'd like to know which outro you like the best and which ones I can dump. With all that out of the way, let's get this video started. Okay, let me cut the suspense. If you didn't know already, we are going to be talking about using Virgin Atlantic miles to book Delta flights, and we are going to be talking about using British Airways to book short-haul domestic flights on American Airlines. I'll talk about both programs, give you some practical examples of execution, and we'll talk about when it's a good idea. Let's start off with Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic is a UK-based airline that at this time is not a member of an alliance. I believe they will be joining the Sky Alliance in the future, and when that happens, we will talk about how or if things are going to change for us. Even though Virgin isn't a member of an alliance, they are partners with many, many different airlines. In this case, we'll highlight their partnership with Delta. So many of us use Delta to get around domestically because they are widely considered to have the best hard product amongst the legacy carriers, but they also seem to be the most expensive, and I don't think anyone loves the Sky Miles program. I will admit though that there are some really great opportunities with Sky Miles when you find deals. So is there a better way to book award flights on Delta? Yes, there is. Before I get into some examples, let's talk about how we can earn Virgin Atlantic miles. Virgin Atlantic miles are, in my opinion, some of the most valuable airline miles in the game. And what makes them so awesome is they are really easy to earn. All four major credit card transferable currencies transfer to Virgin Atlantic: American Express membership rewards points, Chase Ultimate Rewards points, Citi Thank You points, and Capital One miles. So depending on what system you are running, or if you keep it versatile and collect points in all four ecosystems, then you have plenty of opportunity to acquire Virgin miles. One thing to add as well, Virgin seems to have a lot of transfer bonuses, sometimes up to 30%, so keep up to date on that. Later this week, I'll do a video updating everyone on current transfer bonuses, so keep an eye out for that. Also, a quick reminder, it's normally a good idea to wait to transfer your points to airline partners only when you are ready to pull that trigger. It's a one-way transfer. Once those points are deployed, they are out there for good. So now we know how to acquire Virgin Atlantic miles. Let's talk about this one specific way I've used them. Some of you guys have watched my maximum redemption video about using Virgin Atlantic miles to fly Delta One suites to Amsterdam. And in that example, I booked a flight from Detroit directly to Amsterdam. A lot of folks wondered, well, wait, Luke, how do I get to Detroit? Obviously, I'm not from that state. I can't even mention the name of it right now because I'm a Buckeye. So this is a great example of how we can use Virgin Atlantic miles for something called positioning flights. In this series, we talk about some crazy awesome redemptions, and most of them start in one of the larger airports, such as Atlanta, JFK, Washington, Dulles, places like that. So if we're going to take advantage of these awesome flights, we need to position ourselves for those redemptions. Let me just use the example of my Amsterdam trip. My home airport is in Columbus, Ohio. So I need to look for flights from Columbus to Detroit so I can fly these super cool Delta One lie flat seats. Now, this is also an example if I just wanted to take a trip to Detroit. But let's be honest, who's taking trips to Detroit? Am I right, RJ? Just kidding. Let's take a look at Delta's website for this short one-way to DTW. When I take a look at Delta's site, I see quite a few flights to DTW, so it's an easy ride. I don't need to sit first class for an hour. That seems like a waste of resources for me. So the main cabin is 13,000 sky miles. Now for this exercise, I'm not even going to look at the cash price because obviously we're trying to get around for free. And most of the time using points of some type is going to be a decent value. So 13,000 if I want to use Delta Sky Miles. Now remember, if I'm earning Delta Sky Miles, I'm either using an Amex Delta card that gets really poor earnings on spend, or I'm transferring Amex MR points and paying that really weird excise tax that no one else charges. But even so, it's likely still better than paying cash. But let's see what we can do if we have points from any of the big four. When I check Virgin site and I look at the same flights and I look for award flights, I come up with a main cabin seat for just 7,500 Virgin miles. So right off the rip, it looks like a much better deal. Now let's factor in this. Very recently, there have been 30% transfer bonuses to Virgin Atlantic. If you were lucky and we were booking this flight during a 30% bonus, we would only need to transfer 6,000 Amex MR points or Chase UR points to Virgin. 6,000 plus 30% is 7,800. Now remember, you needed to transfer in increments of 1,000 normally. So this same flight would have been 13,000 sky miles plus possibly some type of excise tax, or 6,000 transferable points such as MR or UR points. See the advantage here? Now I can hear some folks saying, oh big whoop, Luke, so I save a few thousand points, so what? Well, isn't that what this hobby is all about? We jump through a lot of hoops for a very small reward that adds up over time. Let's look at the same day, but positioning in Atlanta. We see a similar difference in main cabin, 14,000 sky miles versus 7,500 Virgin miles. Guys, it's just plain better if the opportunity is there. And this opportunity should be used whenever you have a direct flight to a Delta hub to position for one of these awesome award flights. Let's look one more time. The same day, again, it's an even better value to JFK. The Delta flight is over $200 and 16,500 sky miles, while the Virgin price is still just 7,500 miles. Now, I'm hoping there are a large number of folks watching this video that already have a smile on their faces. They're going to save some points. If you're one of those people, slap the like button. So what about American Airlines? One of my favorite redemptions in the whole game is a simple one-way direct flight to Miami. It's quick, cheap, and it's part of what we do as a family that makes this whole points and miles hobby fun. Let's bring in British Airways. British Airways is, well, you guessed it, British, and headquartered in London, so why are we trying to book them to Miami? Well, for one, British Airways is a member of the One World Alliance with American Airlines. Another reason is we can transfer American Express membership rewards points, Chase UR points, or Capital One miles to British Airways Avios. British Airways Avios is another program that seems to enjoy tons of transfer bonuses. What makes this execution all the sweeter is the difficulty of earning American Airlines miles. They have co-branded credit cards, but they aren't a transfer partner of any of the major credit cards. Short-haul American Airlines flights can be booked through British Airways Avios, and let's look at some of my favorite examples. So I want to fly direct to Miami from Columbus. I will say that award availability with this is not as plentiful as the earlier example, so this calls for a bit of flexibility. Let's head down on March 1st, and when I check American Airlines, I can find my direct flight for a actual great price, 11,500 AA miles. Now, that's a great deal, so if you have a lot of American Airlines miles, then you may just want to book it. But let's say you don't have a way to earn AA miles, like most of us. If I check out British Airways and book with Avios that are much easier for me to earn, I can find the same flight for 9,000 British Airways Avios. For you math nerds, if we can find a 30% bonus, we only need 7,000 MR or UR points to book that trip one way. Miami is definitely a destination, but it could also be a positioning flight as well. Spending 7,000 UR points to position for a business class flight to, say, Spain might be a great deal if you ask me. Everyone wants to go to Asia, and there are plenty of flights to Tokyo out of DFW and Dallas. Let's try it. Again, we find the British Airways booking to be 9,000 British Airways Avios. But this time we find the AA miles booking to be only 10,500. That's a great value, but again, most of us can't earn tons of American Airlines miles. And we also like to earn transferable currencies for the flexibility. Both Delta and American Airlines have several hubs you can position to help these epic redemptions become a reality, or if you just need a quick South Beach trip. It's an easy way to transfer some points and hop on an award flight that you may not have otherwise thought of. Now, I want to state that these two programs aren't the only options to fly Delta and American. These videos are not meant to be tutorials, but they're meant to inspire you with nuggets of knowledge. I want to arm you with more options for redeeming your points besides Amazon gift cards. These are two programs I use because, like some of you, I'm poor and I can't afford to fly all over the world, so I choose to do it for free. If you're interested in these redemptions, keep a note of both American and Delta hubs. Delta is in MSP, DTW, JFK, Atlanta, and a few other places. And American has many as well, including LaGuardia, Miami, DFW, and Philly. I hope at least some of you got enough knowledge to book an extra cheap trip or learned enough to build on that knowledge that it will help you with that Athens trip or that Paris trip someday. Before I go, I want to remind everyone that the holidays are quickly approaching, and if you have shopping to do, please use a retail shopping portal like Rakuten. I use Rakuten because it allows me to opt in to earn American Express MR points in lieu of cashback, making those earnings exponentially more valuable for these super flight redemptions. Use my link in the description and you can earn up to $40 cashback or 4,000 MR points on your very first purchase. Guys, even though these redemption videos don't do as well as the other topics, I love making them because I get to learn so much doing it. Do me a favor and share this with a friend, and if you've stayed all the way to the end, I appreciate you and I thank every one of you.